Hello everyone, the 316 here with another Mcfarlane Toys DC Multiverse review. This time I got a double review of the Wave 2 of the Collector's Edition figures. On the left we have the number 4 Firestorm. This one specifically Crisis on Infinite Earths. And on the right we have number 6 Sinestro. And I do not remember which one they say he is from. Anyway, both of these figures retail for $29.99. Sinestro I actually got at a toy show for 25 bucks, and Firestorm I got on Amazon for about the same price. Glad to have both of these figures. These were two that I really wanted to get since they were released, and I'm glad I got a good deal on them. Anyway, let's go ahead and start off with the boxes. The boxes, they're your standard collector's edition fare. So here's Sinestro's as an example. It says his name on both of those sides. This one says Sinestro Core War. That's the... Oop, there you go. And then the back is just the art card image, but, blown up so you can see it. And same thing with Firestorm. It says his name down here on that side. There's the barcode for Firestorm, if you need it. And here is the barcode for Sinestro, if you need that one. And here is the art card. Interesting thing about Firestorm's art card is that his looks similar to the Platinum Chase variant of Firestorm. Obviously, I do not have the Platinum Chase of this figure, and I don't really need it. I only need one of a character for the most part. Now, if they do the, the non-Ronnie Raymond version, I think of Legends of Tomorrow, the Jefferson. I always forget his last name. So the Jefferson version of this character. There was a third Firestorm, and I can't remember who it was. But if we get one of those two, I would probably pick that up since technically it's a different character, but same name, right? Anyway, accessories wise, let's start off with Sinestro because he comes with a lot less. So he gets his Yellow Lantern battery, which does have the the Sinestro Core logo up top there. I do like this, but it is kind of hard to get him to hold it just because of how flimsy this is. It's very wibbly wobbly, and this portion just comes right out. I might get some super glue, some hot glue in there. It's just a pressure fit. This side's actually in pretty good. This side not so much. I mean, I could probably force it in there, but I do not want to break it, even if it's, this clear plastic. I do kind of wish that they made these a solid color, but honestly, I don't mind that they're not. I could care less. I'm just going to put that to the side. And then he comes with this construct piece, which I don't think we've seen before, but it's like 3 mechanical claws. Kind of gives me like Doc Ock vibes. So, if you want to make a Doc Ock, you'd still need an extra arm, but you get the idea. These look pretty good. Some good detailing on them, even on the chain. It's like barbed chain. Yeah, and that's all the accessories he comes with, minus the card stand, which we'll take a look at after we look at Firestorm's accessories. So Firestorm's accessories, he comes with, I'm going to zoom down here, 8 hands and 2 on the figure. So 10 total hands. That is absurd. That is, I believe, more than the Jim Gordon as Batman came with. He came with 8 hands. He comes with 10. 10 hands. Isn't that insane? Like, when I think of a collector's edition figure, they're charging an extra $5. All new molds, 10 hands. I think that that's a very good value if you ask me. But Sinestro over here, mostly reuse, only a few new parts, and 2 accessories. I just the difference between these is very apparent, but let's go over the hands, starting with the matching set of hands. So he gets a fist for both sides, for left and the right. He gets 2. I was gonna say these are karate chop hands, but they have kind of an angle to them. So maybe it's like a bitch slap type of hand. At least that's what it looks like to me. Those are the proper matching hands. Everyone else is kind of unique. So he has these pair of hands, but they're not matching pairs. So these are kind of like he's got, I don't know, fire hexes going on. the Firestorm Matrix. I mean, that's what's on his chest, but these are nice, and I like that they painted the hands in there rather than just making the whole piece, this flame effect. And what's nice about these flame effect piece hands is that they actually do have some yellow dry brushing on them, and it just makes the flames pop just a little bit more than they would if there was none. His last set of hands, he has a right pointing finger hand. He has two left kind of like claw hands. One of them is on fire and the other one is on the figure. And the last one here is probably my favorite hand. It's kind of like these just fireballs. And there is an unfortunate sprue mold there left over, but love the look of that hand. I think they did a good job on that. This is where you can really see the dry brushed yellow on the orange piece. I really like that, and they did a good job. Lastly, let's go ahead and take a look at their collector stands. It's standard fare. It has their collector's cards on there, which, they both look good. And I'm actually going to turn the card around, so if you want to read the description for both of these. I did not get a misprint on either of these like I did on my one collector's edition card, but there you go. You can see the descriptions on both of those. Paul Sinestro, Ronald, Ronnie, Raymond, and Martin Stein. So if you want to read that, go ahead. I'm surprised that his isn't longer than Sinestro's. I mean, I think Sinestro's pretty straightforward, Trained Hal Jordan, Fear, started at his own core. You get the idea. But anyway, card stands. They're card stands. There's nothing much else to say about those. Now we can move on to the figures proper, and I'm actually going to start with Sinestro. Now, I've always wanted just a good Sinestro figure from Mcfarlane, and for the most part, I think that this scratches the itch that I was looking for. I will say, though, I honestly don't mind particularly that they reuse the Kyle Rayner, general body here, because I think that when I think of Sinestro, he's a very thin man, very thin, being, right? And, he doesn't have too much muscle, but he has enough. And I think that this body mold was the right choice. However, I do wish that they changed the feet. I don't like the feet on this mold, not because they don't match the, this section here, but rather I just think the feet are way too thin. They should be a little bit bigger towards, the front here. I don't think the heel is nearly as bad as the front of the foot. And, the toe is just all right. And, this guy suffers from the issue where, the legs are very long. Firestorm looks good. His legs are very disproportionate. But, to more accurately show what they changed on this figure, I'm actually going to bring in Kyle a little early, just so you can get an idea. The arms are practically all the same except for the hands. Legs are the same. Basically, everything from the crotch up, minus the arms and legs, is all new sculpting for Sinestro. So he's got an... That was weird. Something just fell. I'll have to look at that later. But Sinestro head here, that's new. This upper torso, which is new. This midsection, and this rubber crotch piece. And, I think that they did a good job with getting the general design on this figure. And he has some very nice texturing. And it's a very just good-looking yellow color. It's kind of metallic, but kind of not. And, I hope that for future Lantern releases, they stick with this. I know that Hal Jordan's coming up, and he has just solid green. They reused the Blue Beetle Booster Gold body for him. But I know the John Stewart that's upcoming that's also on this body, it's going to look, kind of like this. But I like this metallic yellow. Trying to line up this with the crotch piece, it's pretty easy, but sometimes I have issues with it. What I do appreciate is they did continue this, design here all the way down so that, if he was leaning back like this, it all blends together and it doesn't look out of place. Articulation-wise, real quick, he gets a little bit of ab crunch, not as much as Kyle, but he doesn't suffer from that issue of the upper torso potentially tearing. As you can see, mine in the middle there, it looks a little, damaged. They even got the back detail on here. I like that. People were hoping that the Platinum release would be the blue suited version of this figure, but instead they went with the, he just put on the yellow ring in his Green Lantern outfit. Think that was the better choice for the Platinum because it's not too highly desired, even though it's technically Green Lantern Sinestro, yeah, but, good Platinum. It's not one that I need, but I know some people really want them. Upper torso articulation. It's a bit stiff, but you can get some. It just doesn't feel like it's a lot. And twisting this, it really feels like it doesn't want to go. Weirdly, it feels like it's on an angle, which it is, but I don't know why they make their upper torsos like that with the articulation when you turn them and they immediately go sideways like that. But, the arms, it's what you expect, so, nothing too bad to see there. Here's his yellow ring. It is molded on there. If it'll focus on the yellow ring. There you go. You can see it is painted on there. I do appreciate that. It is molded and then they painted over it. I do wish that one day they would give us an alternate hand where there's a hole in the hand, and then you could put an effect piece in there for Sinestro, or any lantern rather. I could see them reusing this body again for Saint Walker, but that's Sinestro. Let's go ahead and move on to Firestorm next. Firestorm, I think they did a great job on. There are some things I don't like, mainly the color scheme, but for some reason they made his yellow kind of like a mustard yellow and his red like a ketchup red. It's very strange. When I think of Sinestro, or not Sinestro, getting them mixed up now. When I think of Firestorm, I think of a nice bright yellow with a just slightly deep red. This is just a little too bright, and this is just a little too dark. You could obviously repaint it, but I'm just gonna leave it as is. For what it is, it's fine. But if you want to change the colors, you're gonna have to do quite an extensive amount of repainting. So I do like this upper torso section. It's not too overly detailed, but all the necessary paint is there. But the lower you get, the more unnecessary detail I feel they have in here. So he's got these like sections on his crotch and his ass, as you just saw. And his boots are like completely stylized and like realistic looking. I don't believe it's reuse. I think this is all new sculpt as far as I'm aware, but I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure this figure's all new sculpt. The legs are good, but they do suffer from the same issue that Sinestro does, where it's, curved if it's all the way forward. So I do have to, crunch the bottom of the leg there a little bit just to get him to stand more straight up and down. But, it doesn't take away from the figure, but it does make it feel a little strange. I do think that the sculpt work is great on the arms up here. It really feels like it, it's kind of baggy, and it's kind of containing this Firestorm matrix, right? And, none of the joints seem too tight or too loose, especially these forearm pieces. Although I do have issues with the forearms because they sculpted up this backside here. So when I go to turn it inward, it doesn't really want to go. So I gotta, do more of that. I do like his, false butterfly joint up here, the rotator cuff. There's plenty of movement here. It doesn't feel too loose or too stiff. It's like just right. I wish more figures had this. This side gets a little caught on me, but it still moves just fine. I'm not sure if this is an error, but this back section I feel like should be pushed in a little more. I don't know, again, if that's a mold issue or not. I don't think it is, but I'm sure there's a way I could fix it. I do like the head sculpt as well, but you can see, unfortunately, I do have a pretty big nick on the cheek there and another one on this side. I don't particularly mind this one, but this one gets on my nerves. I don't plan on sending it back to Amazon. It's just, it's just something you kind of have to deal with when collecting action figures at mass retail, right? Articulation-wise, pretty standard stuff, but I think what most people are interested in is the ab crunch, and it doesn't really want to do any ab crunch, but you can get a little bit. Back is always great on these figures, but front not so much. Ugh. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and put them together, and then we can do our size comparisons. So, Sinestro here stands at, I would say, 7.25, and Firestorm at the top of his fire is 7.5. Give you an idea on the height of these two. Now let's go ahead and see how they look next to some other Mcfarlane figures. Obviously, I had Kyle in here from the Blackest Night wave, so get him in here. Speaking of Lantern members, let's... how do I want to do this? Let's stick him like here in the middle. We have Green Lantern Batman. And an upcoming review, we have the Yellow Lantern Batman. Man, he's got such a big cape, it's hard to fit him in frame. But that just gives you an idea. This is the only other Yellow Lantern I believe they made. Yes, this is, I believe, the only other Yellow Lantern. They obviously don't match, but this is kind of like an Elseworld story a little bit. Kind of not. This obviously is reused body as well. But, you know, if you want to have some Sinestro core members, you at least have, you know, these two to at least have something, right? And obviously you'd want Sinestro, so that just gives you an idea on how they look next to these other figures. Let's move them out of the way. And let's see how they look next to, you know, the standard figures that I do. Speaking of lanterns, let's get him in here. Atrocitus. Gotta have him. There's the height difference for you to give you an idea. They're not too far off from each other. He's about like a third of a taller, you know. And here's Gold Label Arkham City Batman. Stick him in the back. Spartan Yoroi Halo Spartan Collection. Got Samoa Joe from AEW Unrivaled. Let's split them up a little bit more. And then Mattel WWE Elite 100 John Cena. There you go. Back to back. I kind of like that. Alright, and lastly we got our Hasbro figures. Tiger Force Outback. Lightning Collection Dino Thunder Black. And the Friendly Neighborhood Tobey Maguire Spider-Man figure. So, collector's edition wise, I definitely think that Firestorm is worthy of that $30, 10 sets of hands. What else could you ask for, right? Sinestro I do feel is lacking. He just feels like a standard release, but with, you know, just the collector's edition stand and card. I do feel like he could have been a general release, though. You know, make him a gold label, Walmart, Target, Amazon even. But I do recommend both of these. I think this Sinestro's great. I think this Firestorm's superb, minus the color scheme issues. But I know that some people had issues getting the Platinums for Sinestro instead of just the standard version. Basically, people got the Platinum version, sent it back, and that's kind of what Amazon has a lot of. Thankfully, I found mine at a toy show, but I'm sure that if you find a Sinestro online from like Entertainment Earth or Big Bad Toy Store, you're going to get the standard release version. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments down below which of these two you prefer more, as a character or as a figure, either or. Don't forget to leave a like on the video, subscribe, and hit the bell. It all helps out the channel. And as always, peace.